Tonight, when you flip a plastic switch, light will instantly fill your room. You will probably not think about this simple action at all. Yet, for almost the entirety of human existence, that small switch did not exist. When the sun dipped below the horizon, the entire world plunged into absolute darkness. Our planet rotates on its axis, creating a strict geographic cycle of light and shadow. For hundreds of thousands of years, anatomically modern humans spent half their lives in this shadow. They did not possess candles, gas lamps, or electrical grids. They only had the vast night sky, the bright stars, and the flickering fires they managed to keep alive. This nightly darkness profoundly shaped our biology, our culture, and our historical journey. To understand this transformation, we must look closely at our planet's deep history. During the Pleistocene epoch, early human ancestors evolved within specific geographic landscapes. The East African Rift Valley and the vast savannas of the continent presented massive environmental challenges. In these open environments, daytime belonged to humans, but nighttime belonged to deadly apex predators. Large cats, hyenas, and ancient wolves possessed exceptional night vision. Human eyes, by contrast, are geologically and biologically ill-equipped for the dark. Moving through the landscape at night meant a very high probability of death. Therefore, early hominids were geographically restricted, forced to hide in trees or rock shelters as soon as twilight faded. Then, a massive technological and geological breakthrough occurred. In the ancient sedimentary layers of Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, scientists discovered something incredible. Deep within the earth, they found the earliest solid evidence of controlled human fire, dating back 1 million years. This discovery marks a crucial turning point in both human history and historical geography. Fire did not merely offer warmth or a way to cook gathered food. Fire fundamentally restructured the daily spatial patterns of human life. A simple campfire created a physical circle of safety about 30 feet wide. Inside this glowing boundary, the dangerous nocturnal predators of the savanna refused to step. Outside this boundary, the ancient wilderness remained lethal. Even today, anthropologists studying hunter-gatherer societies note that leaving the fire at night carries a high risk of animal attacks. By conquering the immediate darkness, fire effectively added several hours to the useful human day. Depending on the geographic latitude and the season, winter days could be as short as 8 hours. Fire instantly provided 2 to 4 extra hours of active time every single night. Over thousands of generations, these newly gained hours completely altered the trajectory of our species. In 2014, an anthropologist named Polly Wiesner published a groundbreaking study on human behavior. She spent decades living with and recording the conversations of the Juhoansi Bushmen in the Kalahari Desert. This group preserves a lifestyle closely linked to our ancestral roots. Wiesner discovered a fascinating division between daytime and nighttime human speech. During the bright daylight hours, about 80% of all conversations focused strictly on economic survival. People discussed local geography, hunting locations, plant gathering, and group logistics. Daytime talk was essentially work talk. However, when darkness fell and the campfire was lit, the entire nature of human interaction shifted. At night, over 80% of the conversations turned into elaborate storytelling. People shared dramatic histories of distant lands, ancient myths, personal adventures, and humorous jokes. The campfire became the world's very first theater, lecture hall, and sacred space. It allowed the human mind to look past the immediate physical environment and imagine complex worlds. This is precisely where human culture, language, and shared history were born. But the impact of the night extended far beyond social gatherings. It also governed a unique biological rhythm that modern society has completely forgotten. You were not naturally evolved to sleep in one solid 8-hour block. In 2001, a historian named Roger Eckerch published a revolutionary study on historical sleep patterns. He spent 16 years analyzing centuries of written diaries, legal depositions, medical texts, and classical literature. Across these diverse historical sources, he discovered hundreds of casual references to a first sleep and a second sleep. Before the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, humans worldwide practiced segmented sleep. They routinely went to bed shortly after the sun set into the horizon. They slept soundly for roughly 4 hours, and then they naturally woke up around midnight. They remained conscious and active for 1 or 2 hours in the quiet dark. After this brief period, they returned to bed for a second deep sleep that lasted until dawn. This midnight waking period was not considered a medical disorder or insomnia. It was a completely normal, universal human experience for thousands of years. During these quiet midnight hours, people performed a wide variety of activities. Some stayed in bed to contemplate their dreams, pray, or reflect deeply on their lives. Others visited nearby neighbors, read by dim light, or engaged in quiet labor. Old medical manuals even recommended this specific time for studying because the human mind was exceptionally calm. For generations, modern translators routinely misunderstood these historical texts. They mistakenly assumed that ancient people slept exactly like we do today. However, modern neuroscience eventually proved that the historians were entirely correct. In 1992, a psychiatrist named Thomas Ware conducted a famous sleep experiment. He placed a group of modern volunteers into an environment entirely devoid of artificial light. For an entire month, these participants experienced 14 hours of natural darkness every single night. This schedule perfectly mimicked the natural geographic photoperiod of our early ancestors. Within a few short weeks, a remarkable change occurred in every participant. Without any prompting, their bodies naturally adopted the ancient two-phase sleep cycle. They slept for 4 hours, stayed awake in a peaceful state for a couple of hours, and then slept for another 4 hours. When Weir tested their blood during the midnight awake phase, he found elevated levels of a hormone called prolactin. Prolactin is the exact same hormone released during meditation and moments of deep relaxation. The volunteers did not feel tired or anxious during the night. Instead, they experienced a profound meditative state of consciousness that modern humans rarely encounter. So, what forces ultimately destroyed this ancient biological rhythm? The answer lies in the history of technology and urban geography. During the 17th century, rapidly growing European cities began installing the very first public street lamps. Monarchs like Louis XIV in Paris introduced street lighting primarily to combat urban crime. London and other major economic hubs quickly adopted the same strategy. The night, which had historically been a dangerous frontier, gradually became accessible and regulated. By the 19th century, gas lighting spread across the developed world. Finally, in 1879, Thomas Edison successfully commercialized the electric incandescent light bulb. Within just a single generation, the authentic night that humans had known for 300,000 years vanished. Consider the origin of the word curfew, which comes from an old French phrase meaning to cover the fire. In medieval European towns, evening bells commanded citizens to extinguish their hearths. This was because the night was historically reserved for rest and natural isolation. Walking outside in the dark without a lantern was frequently classified as an illegal act. The darkness belonged exclusively to nature, predators, and the unknown. When we flooded our geographic landscapes with artificial light, we celebrated it as magnificent progress. Yet, this technological advancement came with a hidden biological cost. Today, the average modern human is exposed to bright artificial light for many hours after sunset. The blue light emitted from digital screens and modern bulbs directly suppresses the production of melatonin. Melatonin is the crucial hormone that signals your body it is time to rest. From an evolutionary perspective, your eyes cannot distinguish between an electric bulb and the sun. When bright light strikes your retina late at night, your brain genuinely believes it is still daytime. This evolutionary mismatch delays your hormone release and fragments your sleep architecture. Modern research shows that just 1 week of camping in the wilderness without technology can completely reset this cycle. Away from artificial grids, the human body immediately starts producing melatonin precisely at sunset. Our deep genetic programming is always waiting to reassert itself when given the chance. By eliminating the natural night, we did not just alter our schedules. We effectively erased a beautiful phase of human consciousness and self-reflection. Today, when people wake up at 2 in the morning, they often feel anxious and reach for medication. But this experience is not a sign that your body is broken. It is simply your biology remembering an ancient rhythm that kept your ancestors alive for millennia. For hundreds of generations, humans utilized the darkness to build the foundations of our modern world. They gathered around fires to pass down knowledge, histories, and complex ideas. They rested in harmony with the natural cycles of the earth. They looked up at a night sky so pristine that the Milky Way was a daily reality, not a rare tourist destination. We willingly traded that deep connection and quiet reflection for the convenience of a light switch. And in doing so, we forgot what it truly means to experience the night.